I would like to call for any floor nominations for any of the board position seats tonight. District 65, 115, or the Park Board. Yes, Lane. Ben Grum has been nominated for the Park Board. Okay, thank you, Lane. Anyone else? We have 4 candidates, including Ben, who was nominated from the floor tonight, for the Lake Bluff Board of Commissioners. So again, candidates, you'll have 2 minutes for your candidate statement and then 1 minute to reply to questions. So McCamey, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is McCamey Cole. My family moved here to Lake Bluff in 1980, but both of my parents went to Lake Forest College, graduated in the 70s. My grandfather was actually president of Lake Forest College back in the 60s, so I am proud to say that I'm raising, I think, 3rd generation Lake Bluff kids who are very active in the school, in the park district. We go to the beach, we go to the pool, we go on the golf course, run through the ravines. Professionally, I'm a creative director at a small ad agency downtown, so I'm familiar with marketing, advertising, and stuff like that I think would bring a lot of value to the park district. Before that, I worked in nonprofits for about 10 years, including about a 6-year stint with the YMCA of Metropolitan Chicago. I was a director for a number, 2 actually different YMCA facilities in Metropolitan Chicago, responsible for day-to-day operations of those facilities. Currently, I am volunteering on the Lake Bluff Village Sustainability and Community Enhancement Committee, as well as the Lake Bluff Park District Facilities and Programs Committee. I've been doing that for the past 3 years. And we have navigated a number of controversies, including golf course, pickleball, things like that. Let's see what else. I volunteer for Lake Bluff Open Lands as well. And that's about it.
Thank you, McCamey, and we'll hear from Andrew Henkel now. Andrew?
Okay. Hello, I'm Andrew Henkel. My family moved to Lake Bluff in 2010, and I grew up next door in Lake Forest. Went to the high school, played golf on the high school team. Only JV, I didn't make varsity, but did enjoy the home course being at Lake Bluff. I love this town. I would like to give back in any way I can, and I think that my experience with being on the subcommittee for the golf course will help in that regard. Professionally, I'm the president of a printing company in Niles. We have about 100 employees. I think that in that regard, it's a good experience for me. And basically, since 2018, I've run a golf league with about 90 people from Lake Bluff, and I think that basically I've just understood that it's a meeting place, a great spot to be. At the golf course, and while I'm golf centric, I also understand that this is all right. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. It's all right.
Go ahead.
All right, Andrew, we'll rescue you. Carrie, go ahead.
Thank you, Paul, and thanks to everyone for being here. It's really considerate of you to show up. So there's many faces that I know and some that I don't. So it's a pleasure to introduce myself officially. Carrie Wells. Have been in Lake Bluff for 30 years. So we are definitely dug in. We have raised 4 children in Lake Bluff and have had the pleasure and the opportunity to visit and participate literally every single one of the Park District assets, which is great throughout the seasons of our life. And that's why the Park District is so tremendous, because you can do that with those seasons of your life. So I first got involved with the Park District in 2018 with saving the golf course for the first time, and was part of a small group that raised money, and we were able to, because it was not in financial good state at that time, and so we were able to raise money, get it back on track, change the management company, which was great. And I now, like Andrew, serve on the committee, the golf course committee, and that's given me a really good line of sight into how the park district works, how it works with the staff, how it integrates or works with the village, and so that's been really helpful. So I'm excited about running for the park district because it really gives a chance to dive in, not just on a committee, but full time in from a commissioner role. And from a business standpoint, just so you know, I'm a partner with a consulting firm, and so we roll out, manage, integrate negotiation strategy and process for companies all over the globe. So all that means for you is that I tend to approach things in a very diplomatic, rational, very inclusive way. And that's my approach. And it's time. So there you go. So thanks for your support.
And our newly floor-nominated candidate, Ben Grum. Please go ahead, Ben.
Hi, I am Ben Grum, lifelong resident. Grew up in unincorporated Lake Bluff. Currently live in Lake Bluff with my wife, who is the elementary Spanish and English as a second language instructor at Lake Bluff Elementary School. I have a 13-year-old at the middle school and a 7-year-old right here at Lake Bluff Elementary. I have been a lifelong employee of the city of Lake Forest. I started at 15 on a work permit in the Parks and Rec department, and then found my love for law enforcement, where I was a 911 dispatcher, community service officer, police officer, school resource officer, sergeant, and currently am the patrol commander for afternoons. During my time in the police department, I've dedicated a majority of my career to working with juveniles and youth as a juvenile officer, school resource officer, and I've been on the Illinois Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, where I've single-handedly arrested dozens of child predators. My charity and volunteer work started at the Montessori School of Lake Forest as a board member. At that point in time, we were under significant financial strain. We actually, as board members, had a board member floating payroll for a while. But as a board, we struggled, got out of that, and now they're a financially sound school with they're set for the future, which I took a large part of that on the finance committee. And currently I am serving on the Lake County Juvenile Officers Association board, as well as the Lake Forest Police Pension Board. My goal here with the Park District is very simple. 3 things that I want to do. I want to continue to offer excellent programming, keep our facilities and parks in great shape, and always be financially responsible to the taxpayers of Lake Bluff. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Before we get to the questions, I was asked to clarify the various board positions and exactly how many positions are currently open. So I'll do that now while we get some questions run up to me. So for the District 65 Board of Education, there are 4 4-year terms that are open, and we've heard from Lauren Hirsch, Tim Penich, Gary Steinbach tonight. As of this point in time, there remains now 1 open position because of the situation with Amy, which I explained earlier in the evening. Richard Driver was, as he mentioned, was replacing Andy Duran, who was voted in 2 years ago and then I think took a new job in another state, but unfortunately Andy had to leave Lake Bluff. So Richard, God bless him, filled in for 2 years, and now he is completing the latter 2 years of Andy Duran's position. So that's District 65. For 115, I think everyone should know this is an agreement between Lake Bluff and Lake Forest that has been in place for nearly 80 years, maybe, Kathy, for the late 40s? Huh? 1949, okay, there you go. That 7-member board would be comprised of 5 Lake Forest residents and 2 Lake Bluff residents. And I think we should all feel very good about the fact that over the last nearly 80 years, that commitment has been ironclad between the 2 communities. So Amy and Gail are going to proudly serve the village of Lake Bluff, hopefully for the next 4 years. So please give them their support on April 1st. And then the Lake Bluff Park District Board of Commissioners, there are 4 spots open. You've heard from 3 candidates tonight, and with the inclusion of Ben as our floor-nominated candidate, we currently have 4 individuals to fulfill those spots for the next 4 years. So I hope that clarifies the question. what is the trend in the use of the golf course and the swimming pool? So I guess they're asking about current usage rates or trends, which may or may not be a fair question for an incoming board member, but we'll ask you to do your best.
Well, I do know this in 2018, when the golf course was first under pressure, it was putting the park district in the red by, I believe, I want to say $400,000, maybe $480,000. And today, it is generating revenue for the park district because of the moves that have been made since that time. I think last time we heard about it, it was close to 60 to 80,000. I think the year's not out for this year. So the golf course is actually making money for the park district right now. The pool is not the case. The pool has a lot of uphill challenges to face in terms of infrastructure, and we are currently, as part of the Facilities and Programs Committee, making some serious moves. I think we are turning $600,000 grant and about $400,000 from the ADA into about $1.8 million in repairs. We're still in the process of finalizing what those things are going to be. However, I'm very excited about the things that are going to be happening with the pool. Personally, it's my philosophy that it's not about building a pool or a golf course for the community, but building community around those two facilities.
Time. Thank you, McCamey. Andrew?
Yeah. No, I think that the board has done a great job with securing the grant for the pool. As far as the trend in usage, I don't have the up-to-date usage, but for the golf course, it has been increasing in participation, and like McCamey said, we are generating revenue, and it's a successful course.
So I can put a little bit of a finer point on the golf course revenues, just so you all know, because the current board has done a fantastic job. So rounds are up close to 3,000 rounds this year. Total revenue.
Excuse me, that's year over year, right?
Yeah, year over year.
Right, so 3,000 more than the last year, so okay.
Total revenue January through October 1 was 1.25 million, and we are now, the contract that the board signed, we are at our highest percentage, which is 17% of any revenues over 800,000. So we are tracking to have about 100,000 of pure revenue back to the golf course. So not only is it in the black, but it is absolutely paying for itself, as well as the capital improvement. So the thing about the contract is that all of that revenue is earmarked for capital improvements, which is, good. So it's very self-sufficient. And then in terms of the pool, what McCamey said.
Again, being the fourth to add here, I don't think I have a lot to add. They have a lot more knowledge on the golf course. I know it's doing a lot better than it has previously. And I also know it brings a lot more benefit than just generating revenue for the park district. There's a lot more that goes with that. And as for the pool, I think that is a struggle. I think they've done a great job of securing. We were just talking about the grants that they secured and are looking to secure for that. And hopefully that will all go through and not be a financial burden on all of us.
Okay. This next question, we'll have Andrew start. Again, I would ask this incoming board panel to answer this as best you can. How much did it cost to build the pickleball courts at Blair Park and Artesian Park? And how much did it cost to convert the Blair Park courts back to tennis courts?
I do not know. I think I have looked at recent minutes and watched many YouTube videos. My hope is that the pickleball situation is sorted out by the time we start. But it sounds like it was quite an expense and a debacle. But I do not know the amount.
Yeah, I don't either. I would tell you, though, that there are a couple current board members in the room, so you could certainly ask them, and they would have very specific information. So there's a proposal to build new courts at Blair. Artesian, not Blair. Artesian, you probably all know that. And but that's not finalized yet, because there are some questions about whether the parking is a problem, and people are now, since Blair has shut down, everyone has moved over to Deer Path, which have got those brand new, wonderful pickle courts. So nothing's finalized. We probably, this incoming board would do that. I do know too that I think the village has offered 80,000, 100,000 perhaps, is that right, for the new court. So I'm guessing that might be enough, but I really don't know.
Yeah, as for the cost of that, I don't know. I think it's got to be figured out. I think pickleball is too popular, and it's too big of a draw for people to not have it somewhere. So I would be in support of figuring that out. With that said, I understand the struggles of it. Working midnights for 10 years, I'm not as sympathetic with the noise thing. So that's really all I've got. To finish my 30 seconds, I will let you know I wrote the city manager on behalf of the Firemen's Union about the loud pickleball next to the fire station while they're trying to sleep during the day, and he didn't think it was very funny. So,
Okay, and McCamey.
Yeah, pickleball is certainly a problem that we've faced with the Facilities and Programs Committee. And I think pickleball is a great activity because it extends athletics for all ages, right? It allows seniors, and it really is a great community builder for all talent levels. So it's when we're talking about building community around programs, I think pickleball does an excellent job of that. When we're looking at the actual money that goes into those courts, that I don't know, but I can tell you that last summer, when the noise issue was raised to the Park District, it was brought immediately to the Facilities and Programs Committee. And this spring, the Park District itself wanted to continue and commence with pickleboard activities at Blair Park. And I was one of the most vocal opponents against it because we had not solved the issue of the noise that we had faced last summer. The residents were still angry about it. We hadn't done anything about it. And the Park District wanted to, and I'm not talking about the board, but the actual folks over there wanted to go. They estimated $30,000 in revenue that we told them they shouldn't go forward with because it was divisive. Now we're hoping to solve that with Artesian. Thank you.
Okay, next question, and Carrie will lead us off with the responses. What Park District property or facility is used by the most residents of Lake Bluff?
The beach. The beach. But you know what's interesting is, which I thought was curious, and so I don't know if all of you know this, but we have less than 60% of our Park District residents who use our Park District facilities. So there's a huge opportunity for growth for these assets and to communicate, to market. I know the current board has got a lot of really good ideas to do this, and this is something that we really have got to continue because communicating, marketing is a big thing to get people. The rec center has never been back with pre-COVID levels, so there's a good opportunity to get people back in there. The beach, the pool, the golf course, pickle, paddle, all of it.
I think I have to echo that. I think that is a fact. The beach is the most used, in all of the North Shore communities. I think that's what draws us here. I think, and I was talking about it before the meeting. I think that's one of those properties we have to be very careful with because I know that there's a big push to continuously improve it. I can tell you from my experience in Lake Forest, as they improve that beach, the amount of people we are seeing from all over Lake County and Northern Illinois decide to use that facility increased drastically, and that did create a burden on a lot of our residents in their ability to enjoy and be able to park and be able to access that park. So I think that's a balancing act that as a board we're going to have to make sure that we're making it usable and nice and great for all of our residents, but also not making it a North Shore destination or any more so than it already has become.
You know, the beach is nice, but it's only really busy about 3 months out of the year. And it's not really busy right now, right? I think the answer comes down to who we depend on, what we define as people, right? Are we talking about kids? Are we talking about before school and after school? Are we talking about day camps? I think personally it's a tie between probably the Park District facility over there and maybe Artesian Park when we're taking a look at baseball programming. We're looking at tennis and pickleball. Those are kind of year-round activities that are going on there. So I think Artesian Park, and it's tied between that and the Blair Park facility over there.
Yeah, and I don't really have that much to add about the stats on which park district asset has the most participation. But I will say, I think that the one thing that I really want to focus on is the youth programming at the golf course. And I think that there's an unmet need there. I think there's a lot of kids that really could benefit from some additional instruction at the golf course. So I think that we could increase that.
Next question, and it's a provocative one, so thanks again to the author of this question. In the past 3 years, there has been some tension between the park board and the village board. How would you work to repair that relationship, and what would you like to see the village board do?
I think open lines of communication, and that's one thing I think that I can help expand. I think the relationship between the Lake Bluff Park District and the Lake Bluff Youth Baseball Association is one that is very good and valued, and I think that I play a role in that and attending a lot of Park District meetings and giving them updates on our programming and our goals for their facilities and helping them improve their facilities. And I think that relationship has made that bond very tight and for us to work through a lot of controversial / limited resources problems that arise between our two organizations. And I would use that same diplomatic approach to work with the village and their board.
Yeah, I think I don't think there's any denying that the park district has served as a rift in this community, especially with the golf course and pickleball and a couple of other things. I think there are a few individuals who have helped create sort of a rift between both the village and the park districts who I'm not going to name or anything like that, but I think one of the biggest things that we need to do is make sure the park district is something that the village can rally behind and something that everyone can be proud of and something that everyone can sort of be a part of. And that's really what every park district should be. And it would make my goal as a board member to really make sure that rift is healed a little bit and make sure that we do our best to work with the village and not work against the village to make sure that we deliver play spaces, workout spaces, exercise spaces that we can afford, we can enjoy, and everyone can be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, the rift over the last few years, I mean, obviously I was very involved with fighting the preserve situation, but I think that it's unfortunate. These are champagne problems. I think that we live in a great town, and I see no reason for the rift to continue. I think we need to patch things up.
I would just add that it has been a little bit surprising of how quickly things have escalated in the past with the Park District and the village. And in my opinion, there's no reason why we need to be spending money on legal fees between two local entities, two town entities. So the trick probably is collaborate and open communication and to continue to work together. I don't see another way forward, which I think we certainly can do.
Okay, thank you, candidates. That was the last question. So if I could I get a show of hands to support Vote Lake Bluff's endorsement of these 4 candidates for the park board? Okay, very good. That concludes the Q&A and the board. So I just want to leave first. Thank you for being here. Really, it is small town grassroots democracy at its finest, and I hope you will all become more informed voters. And I'm not fooling when I say this. Please put April 1st on your calendar because that's election day next spring. And let's give a nice round of applause for our park board candidates.